Charlie's wasn't random.
About they showed the photo of that kid, or the guy that they have, the 22-year-old,
Yeah.
whatever. And I was almost going to be like,
widow, and the way they brought it up wasn't casual at all. It started when Rogan, during his podcast, mentioned he'd been following the case for a while, saying there were too many weird details that didn't make sense. Musk, who happened to be tagged in a clip from that episode, replied online with one of his trademark cryptic lines, "The truth doesn't hide forever." And that was enough to light everything up. Within hours, people were clipping, rewatching, and analyzing every word, every facial expression. Why were two of the biggest voices in media and tech suddenly talking about a case that most people thought was over? Some said it was coincidence. Others swore it was calculated. But either way, that short exchange between Rogan and Musk turned a quiet rumor back into a national conversation, one that's now raising way more questions than it answers. Once that clip started spreading, it was like throwing gasoline on a fire. Within a few hours, Rogan's comments were everywhere. TikTok edits, reaction videos, and long Reddit threads trying to decode what he really meant. Then Elon made it worse or better, depending on how you see it. He liked a few posts from Candace Owens that questioned the official story, and that was enough for everyone to lose it. Suddenly, hashtags about Charlie Kirk's widow were trending, and the internet decided that Musk and Rogan must know something the rest of us don't. Even mainstream outlets started quietly picking it up, pretending they weren't covering it while absolutely covering it. What made things even crazier was how fast the theories started connecting dots between Candace's earlier claims and Rogan's skepticism. Some said Elon and Joe were hinting at a cover-up, others thought they were trolling the system. But the timing? Way too perfect. It all happened right after Candace mentioned she'd found something new in her private notes, something she hadn't shared yet. And that was enough to send everyone digging again. So here's where things really started getting weird. Joe Rogan's full podcast segment finally dropped, and it wasn't what people expected at all. He wasn't just casually mentioning Charlie Kirk, he was questioning the entire story. Rogan said straight up, "There's too much that doesn't add up," and started listing details that sounded straight out of a true crime documentary. He talked about the strange photo of the alleged suspect, the weird choice of weapon, and how some parts of the timeline didn't make sense. He even joked that if this were a movie, nobody would believe it. The way he said it wasn't aggressive, it was that calm, skeptical tone he uses when he knows he's touching something sensitive. Viewers could tell he was holding back. Clips of him saying, "I almost texted someone when it happened," spread like wildfire. People started asking, who was he going to text? Was it Elon? Candace? Or someone closer to the case? Every frame of that podcast was dissected online, and suddenly, Rogan wasn't just the host. He became part of the story. Right after Rogan's episode started blowing up, Elon Musk decided to pour rocket fuel on the whole thing, literally with just a few tweets. At first, he replied to a random user asking about the clip with, "That story isn't what people think it is." No emojis, no follow-up, just that. And you know how Elon is. The man drops one vague line and the internet loses its mind. Within minutes, his tweet hit 1 million views. Then a few hours later, he posted something even stranger. Sometimes silence tells you everything you need to know. No context, no names, but everyone knew what he was referring to. People started connecting dots, comparing timestamps, and pointing out that Elon's posts lined up exactly with the parts of Rogan's podcast where Charlie Kirk's widow was mentioned. Some thought Elon was hinting he had seen evidence the public hadn't. Others said he was trolling to get attention. Either way, his timing was too perfect to ignore. It felt like both Rogan and Musk were speaking in code, and the internet was desperate to crack it. And just when it seemed like the Rogan-Musk chaos couldn't get any wilder, Candace Owens stepped right back into the spotlight, and she did it in classic Candace fashion. Out of nowhere, she dropped a post that read, "Everyone's finally catching up to what I've been saying for months." That was it. No hashtags, no names, but everyone knew what she meant. Within minutes, people started resurfacing old clips of her talking about strange inconsistencies in Charlie Kirk's case. Then she went live and hinted that there were private messages Charlie wrote about his wife that the media refused to touch. That line alone turned the internet upside down. Viewers flooded her stream, demanding to see proof, And she just smiled and said, "Patience. The truth always finds a way out." That was all it took. Suddenly, rumors were swirling that Candace had screenshots, maybe even parts of Charlie's personal notes. Nobody knew what she really had, but everyone agreed on one thing. If Candace was talking again, something big was coming. Then came the part that nobody saw coming, the alleged journal. Candace claimed she got access to notes Charlie Kirk had written just days before everything went down. According to her, one of those entries mentioned his wife in a way that made people's jaws drop. She said Charlie had started to feel isolated and watched, and hinted that someone close to him wasn't being honest. He even wrote, "I don't know who I can trust anymore." Now, Candace never showed the full page, just a small cropped section, but that was enough to send social media into meltdown. People began speculating that Charlie had left behind some kind of warning, and of course, all eyes turned toward his widow. Was he writing about her? Or was it something else entirely? The ambiguity was perfect gossip fuel. Suddenly, the internet split in two. Half believed Candace was uncovering a cover-up, and the other half thought she was twisting things to get attention. Either way, everyone was talking, and the mystery around Charlie's final words only deepened. After that, the internet completely lost control. Every corner of social media was suddenly filled with wild theories, and everyone had their own version of the truth. Reddit threads blew up overnight with people analyzing the handwriting, claiming they found patterns or hidden initials in Charlie's notes. TikTokers made slow-motion breakdowns of Candace's video, trying to read the blurred-out words in the background. Some thought the journal hinted that Charlie's widow had taken over his role faster than anyone expected, almost too fast. Others believed the notes were about something bigger, something political that got buried along the way. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan fans were convinced that Candace's version lined up with things he'd hinted at in his podcast. The craziest part? Even Elon Musk liked a few of those conspiracy posts, which only made everything explode even more. It didn't matter if people believed it or not, everyone wanted in on the story. And just when things felt like they couldn't get messier, Candace dropped one last hint that flipped the whole situation upside down. And just when everyone thought the chaos was over, Candace went and dropped the line that froze everyone in place. During a livestream Q&A, someone asked if she thought Charlie's widow knew more than she let on, and instead of answering directly, Candace just said, "Let's just say, he wrote about trust for a reason." Then she smiled and ended the stream. That's it. No follow-up, no clarification, just silence. Within minutes, clips of that moment were everywhere. Some said she was confirming the suspicions, others claimed she was baiting attention. Either way, it worked. The next morning, hashtags like #Charlie'sJournal and #WhatDidSheKnow were trending again. Elon Musk liked another cryptic post, this time, a meme that said, "The truth always leaves breadcrumbs." Joe Rogan stayed quiet, which somehow made things worse. Now, everyone's waiting, wondering if Candace will release the full journal or if this is just another piece of the game. Whatever happens next, one thing's for sure, this story isn't going away anytime soon.